Yeah, man, pretty solid. Honestly, if you've ever bought a Glock just because you saw it on T-Rex Arms, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, guys. I'm sure we're all big fans. Today, we're talking about the Glock19 Gen 4 by Tokyo Marui and what upgrades I've made to it. And of course, before that, biggest sponsor of the channel today is Lilacs International, Lilacs USA, for helping provide some of these upgrade parts. And of course, we can't forget the guys, you guys, the fans, for making the comment section out of control, and the channel members for supporting the purchase of this airsoft toy in Japan. So let's talk about Glocks really quick before we get into the upgrade. So the Glock19 Gen 4 is probably the most popular airsoft toy in Japan right now, and probably in the world with VFC, Umarex, or whatever, because of its compact size, because of T-Rex arms, because the Tokyo Marui version is amazing right out of the box, no upgrades even needed, because this thing is absolute chef's kiss. However, this thing runs on duster gas, but that duster gas, which is already weak, is going to disappear by 2024, which means we have to use white gas, and white gas is 10% weaker with the faster cooldown because of non-fluon components, and that means that you're gonna have to upgrade your airsoft toys if you want these things to still be efficient. Of course, you guys overseas probably don't care because you guys use green gas anyway. These are my recommended upgrades, and some of them are a little optional. So like the boys in the Navy, oorah, let's go tip to button. So let's start with the outer barrel. So the outer barrel is now a two-way non-recoil threaded outer barrel, and that is an improvement from the regular barrel, which actually tilted and was made of plastic. And what's good about that is that without that tilting barrel, you'll actually be able to have straighter shots because they're just going straight. And of course, the coolest part about that is, of course, that it is threaded. So if I were to take this off, you could throw on any suppressor you want, a tracer, a big Tokyo Marui tracer, a compensator, whatever you want can be put on the end of this thing. And that is probably the biggest feature about it. And it actually comes with a nice little cap here to keep it nice and clean if you don't want to use a suppressor. I'm not sure if I want to use a tracer yet because I usually use handguns as a secondary and not as a suppressor. So it might not be an immediate need for me, but might be for you. So take out the hop unit here, and you can see that our upgrade part is like this, okay? So we have our two-way barrel, which is non-recoil, giving you straighter shots. And inside, we actually have a 6.00 millimeter inner barrel. I forgot what the length, that's like 100 millimeters, something like that. But anyway, the one that works with the Glock by Lilacs, of course, is a super tight bore barrel, giving you pristine groupings. But of course, it is airsoft, so you're gonna have your variations, but your consistency with those variations are gonna be a lot better than the stock version. Of course, it's also made of stainless steel, so over time, the maintenance is gonna be a lot better. It's not gonna rust like the brass barrels, which gives you that nice longevity. And inside is a secret sauce, which is the purple, not purple Promi, that's the AAG version. So we have the 9-ball purple hop rubber. 9-ball purple hop rubber, and this is going to give you better lift because of the materials and the better what you might call it, the little nub. The nub is better than the stock Marui one. But what I would say is, if you're going to change anything on this Glock, which is already good out of the box, it's going to be the bucking barrel, and nothing else needs to be changed. Honestly, nothing else needs to be changed. Everything else that you're going to see in this video is a min-max and kind of preparing for the 10% downgrade with the white gas, but absolutely necessary would be the bucking barrel. That's all you really need. Everything else can go pan sand. So put that back in here. And a quick little tidbit before we move on. My slide is also bent a little bit because I was dumb when installing this outer barrel, and the hop unit slid out of place and I was unable to take this off. So if you could actually look really closely here, you can see that the edges are slightly damaged. They're kind of going outward like this. That's because I had to force the slide off. And that kind of sucks about the plastic slide. But the plastic slide also gives more efficiency and abides by the law. So that's a little unfortunate. We are trying to get a new slide. It's easy to source parts here in Tokyo for Tokyo Marui because they're here. So that's just a little tidbit there. And that's what kind of pissed me off because I almost broke this Glock. Moving on, instead of an optic, I am more of a iron sights guy. And as much as the Glock sights are popular and cool, I don't know, I'm not really a fan of them as much as I want to be. So I switched these out for some DCI night sights, which are really, really nice actually. You can pick up the target really quickly. Most of the time when you're playing CQB, you're gonna be point shooting and using your instinct, so it's very nice to just be able to find that, the front post at least, to find that really quickly in a little bit lit areas. But for now, I'm just gonna be going with the DCI sights because it's a compact pistol that I'm gonna be using indoors. So don't really plan to beam people across the map with it. Let's talk about the frame really quick after I assemble this thing. Hopefully it doesn't break again. So make sure it's assembled. See, this happened like last time. I forgot to put the freaking spring guide in, didn't I? But hopefully this video doesn't get demonetized, which is why I didn't want to show any of the actual upgrades installing, just telling you what they're like. So moving on, we have our Surefire replica light, and I have used this light for like 5 years, dude, or 4 years. As long as I've been playing Airsoft, the light is shot out. I have a piece of tape holding it together because I'm too lazy to replace it. It can't handle CD2 anymore because I actually lost a couple screws. So it's actually just like glued on now, but I can't remove it, so it's not an issue, but it's good enough for duster guns. And the reason I use this is because I want to, and I like to pair it with my favorite holster, the Omnivore. And the Omnivore can fit basically any handgun as long as you have a Surefire light or TL1, and it just goes in like this. And it's super nice. You can press the button like this, and it has a better retention system than like a Safariland. It's easier to deploy than a Safariland. So this is why I like using this. But lately I've been using a lot of Kydex holsters with my M17 and also the Maxim 9. But that's kind of the plan. If I'm gonna use this thing again, I'm gonna be using it with this or maybe the Lilac CQC holster, which is a really nice, compact, tiny one, which is really nice. Let's move on to the trigger. The trigger is actually just the stock trigger. And what's cool about Tokyo Maruis and their stock triggers is that they're very nice and they're very fast because of the cyclic rate of the plastic slide. So basically, yep, very nice and distinct. Nice reset as well. Right? So that's what's really nice about this trigger. I've always liked the Glock trigger. No changes to the mag release, no changes to the lower frame either. But what we did do is change it to the, I think the largest or the second largest backstrap that comes with the Gen 4s to give it a little bit of some meat, you know? When you're actually like presenting the gun, you can actually do it really nicely like this. And those iron sights are goddamn blessed. So that's what's nice about having the beaver tail. It's not too wide, it's not too much, and it helps me actually grip this tiny little gun because I have big boy hands. So as you can see here, the grip is actually a little bit too small for my pinky. So what I've done is upgraded the magazine. So the magazine, instead of having that regular base plate, now has a just Amazon bumper, which gives you that little bit of extra grip right here. And also if you want to drop the mag, it's easily just not going to be damaging the actual injection valve as it is protected by this rubber plate. So that's cool, makes the gun look a lot cooler, if I don't say so myself, and kind of completes the look there. Now, let's talk about the magazines, which are the next optimization point of the Glock19. So we actually have some Lilacs parts in here as well, which are the gaskets and the valves. So the gaskets and the valves are the things you could upgrade on this thing. So the gas is gonna give it more airflow by having a slightly wider opening, so it's gonna be more efficient. And then we have the valves, which are the piece de resistance. The valves are adjustable, so you can actually adjust how much the hole is open. So you can have open wide, half open wide, or completely closed. So depending on conditions, how much efficiency you want. So if you want to close it, you can make it use less gas, but you'll suffer with the FPS. You can open it right all the way, which is what I have right now. It's open all the way to have more FPS, but less gas efficiency, I suppose. And you can have it in the middle for the best of both worlds. And for my situation, I want to keep it wide open to cut and increase the FPS. But what I've noticed is it's not so much as an FPS increase, which is still sitting around 70 to 65 with slightly cold mags, which might not be, I think that might be an issue. I'm not sure because I'm going to check with my tech with that because I think like this thing should be going up to 80 or something like that. But it is kind of cold. Maybe I need hot mags. But anyways, the point is that it was consistent. It was a really 67, 66, 67, 66, way more consistent than the regular stock valves. And that's what's important. The consistency. FPS I'm not too concerned about because it is a secondary and it's not that big of a deal. So let's do a little testeroni So if I grab these magazines here, I love these little things that the Tokai Marui comes with. They're like these little nubs that you can put in for dry firing. So you can see the recoil, which I really like about the Glock. Oh, it's out of gas. So let's see. Yeah. I really like that. The recoil is nice. There's no upgrades to the recoil at all. The cyclic rate's really good on like a half empty mag. Look at that. The mag was basically empty and it's doing really nice. So it's just a huge consistency performance increase. Not so much power, but consistency. I'm sure a lot of people, when they do upgrade their Glocks, is they change recoil spring, nozzle, piston, cylinder, all that. But for Japan and for my uses, I don't really need that. These are kind of just the basic upgrades that you need. So without further ado, let's go ahead and shoot this thing. All right, so we're here on the range with our Glock19 and some 2.0 gram big base. But literally right in front of me. I just want to check the general groupings. The hop is halfway, and we'll see how this goes. Yeah, I mean, look at this. Pretty solid grouping. Let's try this now. Yeah, man, pretty solid. Honestly, look at these groupings. If you look at it, at CQB distance, it's super solid with that type 4 barrel. Like, it's super solid with that hop. Look at this variation. Not that much. And that hop is pretty new. I haven't even shot, you're supposed to shoot about 70 shots through before it kind of breaks in, but this is like a fresh hop unit. Very fresh, and those are very impressive groupings. Warmed up the magazine now with a hair dryer, and let's see with the provided 0.2 gram BBs how much it actually shoots. 66, 72, there you go. 70, 70, 70, 67. So on average, 60 to 70 meters per second, which I don't know what that is in whatever conversion is, but the point is that recoil is actually quite nice. So that is my new Glock, fully upgraded for the most part with the Lilacs parts, and I gotta say, I'm pretty impressed. There's probably a few things that we can probably change out, like, you know, an optic, or have my tech look at the hop unit or something like that, but for the most part, groupings are really nice, blowback's really nice on hop magazines, and of course, the valves make it very consistent. And this thing's gonna be a banger. I think I could actually use this as a solo pistol sometime because I can attach a suppressor. So who knows where this is gonna go. This is basically gonna be my backup pistol. I do use CO2 for the most part, but this is gonna be a nice reliable backup, as well as fields that don't allow CO2 handguns for some reason, like Area 41. So this will be a good one. And if you just wanna have that cool Glock, do some training with it, I think this is such a cool, it's like the best gun for training Glocks. Glocks are like the coolest guns to like train with and LARP with, so I really like this. Anyway, guys, if you like this video, go ahead and click this one right here if you wanna see more Airsoft in Japan. And we'll see you guys next time.